Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And as you can see, it's very much the same as yesterday, weather-wise. I got a little message from the lovely Amanda. She said, "Good morning, Ginge. Wednesday's weather, showers with thunderstorms in places. Temperature 19 degrees, but it's gonna feel like 20." Anyway, she says, "Have a great day." I've got to be honest. Yesterday, the weather that started off dull and gloomy actually turned out to be really, really nice at the end. And we had a fantastic weather yesterday. Jane was out walking and said it was like a summer's day. So at the moment, the weather is just a little bit all over the place is the best way to describe it. But anyway, just a quick look. That's little Kiki down there. She's our latest addition. She's playing with the chickens at the moment. We've got one chicken. I've got to show you this chicken. We call him Scraggly, or call her Scraggly chicken. I think she's what is a typical henpecked. She's not part of any group of all the other chickens, so we feel a bit sorry for her actually. So we always make sure that we kind of feed her secretly so that she gets something where the others would push her out the way. But bless her. Haven't got a name for her. We just call her Scraggy chicken. There you go. But anyway, that's a look at the weather at the moment. Cloudy, thunderstorms may be on the way. We shall wait and see. Another reason why I'm up early this morning, Jane and I, after our visit yesterday into town to see the dentists, and also for me for going for my scan, is today we're off into Kalamaki, meeting up with the feeding group. We sort of look after the strays and that in Kalamaki. We have a coffee morning, having one this morning. So if anybody's interested in going to a coffee morning at Fergus Sings the Blues in Kalamaki, then come and join us around about 11 o'clock in the today. Coffee and cake, I'm hoping, fingers crossed. And also a chance to spend a little bit of money to basically raise money just to keep the feeding rota going and also look after the strays. So Ken, if you want to come and join us, come and join us. Make sure you've got your pieces of paper in your hand so you can be checked at Fergus Sings the Blues in Kalamaki today. Also as well, just to remind you that today is a very important day in the calendar of Greece, 17th of November, the commemorative anniversary of the student uprising that took place in 1973 at the Athens Polytechnic. Against the military junta that was running Greece at the time. They basically rose up against the junta, and consequently 24 protesters were killed by the army when a tank crossed into the Polytechnic, killing 24 people. So again, if you're in Athens today, there's going to be a lot of disruptions to traffic, etc., as commemorative marches will take place. I'm not so much sure the same will be happening here. It has happened in previous years, but not on the scale, obviously, that Athens does it as well. So obviously, if you're in that area, there's going to be traffic disruptions up there. Right, okay then. COVID in the last 24 hours. Interestingly, the COVID numbers have gone up. As we said, normally over Sunday, the COVID numbers drop because I don't think the same amount of testing is being done. However, today I can say that new infections are 8,129 across the country. That was up on the 6,950 on the previous day. That brings the grand total so far to 847,188. There are 11 new cases identified at checks into the country. That was actually down on the day before, where there were 15. Now, when it comes to the islands of interest for us here, Lefkada, they had 5 new cases, which was down on the day before, where they had 8. That island is still in the green. Corfu, they had 139 new cases, which was up on the day before, where they had 99. That island is still in red. As for Kefalonia, they had 7 new infections. That was down on the day before, where they had 10, and they are in amber. As for Zakynthos, we've had quite a considerable increase. We had 25 on my previous report, and we've had 31 now new infections reported on the island here, and our island is still in red at the moment. Anyway, when it comes to deaths at the moment, deaths have gone up again. 72 new deaths were reported yesterday. Today I can report 80 new deaths. So that puts us in line with the day before yesterday, where we had 80 deaths. And that was the highest death toll since the 6th of May. So again, the deaths rate at the moment is creeping up as well. That means at the moment there's been 16,838 deaths since the pandemic started. 95% of those people were suffering from underlying diseases or over the age of 70 years of age. And again, our condolences to families that are affected at this time as well. When it comes to critical cases, now critical cases actually have taken a slight drop, which is a good sign. I did report to you in my last report, 551 people in ICUs across Greece. At the moment, that number has dropped slightly to 547 people in ICUs across Greece. Now, whether those people have passed away or whether those people have got better and have moved into other parts of the hospital, that has not been made very clear. But anyway, the number has dropped. Critical cases at the moment of the 547, 336 are male, 211 are female. The average age of those people, 64 years of age, or are over the age of 70. And regarding those patients, 455 of them were unvaccinated or are partially vaccinated, while 92 were fully vaccinated. Well, today's news then, a prosecutor has ordered an investigation of a now suspended health supervisor at a hospital in Thessaloniki, which is in northern Greece, who apparently encouraged a 51-year-old female COVID patient not to get incubated before she died last week. Now, the probe was launched after excerpts of a private conversation between the two were publicised. Anyway, the woman told the supervisor, an anti-vaxxer, that she did not want to be incubated, and he responded that she should not accept. Anyway, the excerpt revealed that he said he also questioned whether she was indeed infected. Who said so? How did they diagnose you? What if it's the flu or something else? How do they know? Anyway, that investigation is ongoing. I'm not going to say any more, but that is what is published at the moment in the press at the moment. And I wouldn't want to be seen to be muddying the waters of an investigation that's going on at the moment. Anyway, also as well, a lot of snappy people in town yesterday. All right, because they weren't getting their coffee fix. Yeah, restaurants and cafes went on strike yesterday, not just here across Greece, but also here on Zakynthos as well. And after industry operators called on entrepreneurs to close their stores for just one day. And I can confirm now that yesterday you could not get a coffee in the town at all. I did see one or two people with coffee cups in their hands, but on the whole, nowhere else. Even bakeries that had the facilities to make coffee refused to make coffee for people asking for it because obviously they were standing shoulder to shoulder with the bars and restaurants and cafes that decided to close as a form of protest. Now, basically, some of the demands that they were making, just quickly, was an adjustment of fines and their transfer to the offender, basically saying that they don't want to be held responsible as a business if people turn up and they haven't been vaccinated or they haven't got the proper paperwork. And why should they get fined? Also, the offenders should be the one getting the fine and not them. So the onus is on the individual. They also said they want a change of the repayable advances to non-repayables. Now, these advances that they got were from last year where they were being given money, but they were loans. They weren't like a grant to help them keep their business going. They were loans, and obviously they were expected to pay them back. But obviously, because of the bailout that other sectors of the industry had been getting, or other sectors in other industries had been getting, they feel it's unfair that they should have to pay back their advances, whereas the others didn't have to. So again, that's one of their items that they brought up. They also said that they want more participation in competent committees that deal with crises that may affect them. They've been kind of not been allowed in when, like, the hoteliers associations, etc., and other businesses have had meetings about what is going to go on. They just want more involvement for them as well, and they felt that they were being forgotten about when it comes to negotiations at government level in regards to what is happening within their sector. They also are asking for an energy cost and rent subsidy as well to help them get through. Subsidy of employer contributions, they would like to see a suspension of those as well while this crisis is going on. They also want an exemption from the payment of municipality fees, also as a way of helping their businesses to struggle through. And also they want a reduction of VAT to 6%, which was something that I hadn't noticed that before in any of their demands, but they would like a lower rate of VAT, again, to offset the problems that they're having. Also, don't forget there's price hikes on the way where there's a shortage of raw materials, and obviously they don't want to pass those on to the consumer because, again, it might mean that people might not come out as much as what they have been, and so they're locked in a vicious circle. They also want a continuation of subsidy of loan instalments, and they also want new funding similar to those of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. Basically, that's referring to the bailouts that certain businesses were getting, which seemed pretty good at the time, and they would like to see something similar. But anyway, they basically are making their point that they want more interaction. They want to be spoken to more, and they'd like some of the pressure lifted from their shoulders because of what's been happening within their sector at the moment due to the COVID crisis. Anyway, also as well today, there's a special meeting of the Municipal Council on the pandemic about the situation in Zakynthos and the measures that should be taken, specifically in schools, was proposed by the head of the Zakynthian Renaissance Association. His name is Antonis Kasimisis. The proposal was accepted by the House last week. Now, what needs to be done now is to define the day of the meetings, given that there are many outstanding issues that were not discussed in the last meeting. Anyway, Mr. Kamanis, speaking last Friday on Hermes Radio, noted that there again is a risk of closure of schools, while he stressed that there are solutions that, such as the operation of schools in the morning and the afternoon shifts, but also the utilisation of the municipality property to accommodate students to minimise the number of students per class. So basically cutting down on class sizes, spreading them out a bit, obviously in a hope that this is not going to spread the pandemic. Anyway, things they said has taken a dramatic turn as large hospitals across Greece cannot respond, he said. There are people who do not have access to the ICU, and we are all worried about what could be done better. Mr. Kamanis also described the general situation in arguing that instead of coming out of a pandemic, we remain firmly in a difficult situation, especially for the schools. He mentioned that the fact that the schools were opened without any new measures being taken, with the most important one thing is thinning of the students. That means getting smaller class sizes. While he commented that we do not take the measures now, the schools will be fatally closed. So there's still this worry at the moment. The way that the pandemic is going at the moment, there is a danger that schools could be closed. Even though Mitsotakis said there was going to be no lockdown, other nations are starting to lock down, like Austria and also the Netherlands. And who's to say he's not going to start taking a lead from them in also implementing another lockdown? But we shall wait and see. Let's not jump the gun just yet. There's also going to be two other meetings that are scheduled at the Governor's Office by the Regional Unit of Zakynthos, which concerns some presentations that I've already mentioned in earlier podcasts. Now, one will take place this morning, and there'll be another presentation this afternoon. The one in the morning, that concerns Zakynthos town and also the road route from Zakynthos town over to Keri, about improvements to the road infrastructure there. I could see one thing that could be a good idea. I'm not sure if this is on the plans. Why not put a mini roundabout outside the turnoff for Lidl? That area of the road has had notorious accidents along there, but a mini roundabout there would slow down the traffic, would make getting in in and out of Lidl a lot easier, because Lidl and also A&B are the two most busiest locations for shopping here on the island. And it's just a thought, just an idea. I don't know if anybody else is in agreement with that, but I think a mini roundabout on that turnoff to get into Lidl would be a good idea on that road. Now, there's also a second meeting which I have talked about, which is this afternoon, which concerns the regeneration of the landfill at Skopos. You might remember a fund of 4.2 million euros has been earmarked for a study to be carried out to basically reopen the landfill, reline parts of the landfill so that it is not a danger to the habitat of the National Marine Park. That is being presented this afternoon by somebody that is contracted, obviously, to look into this investigation. So again, we'll see what comes out of that meeting today and what the finer detail of that is in later programs. Anyway, in a statement on Monday revealing the Greek government's concern about the new wave of price hikes, alternate finance Minister Theodoros Skylakis issued a plea of self-restraint to entrepreneurs so that they do not pass on increased costs to consumer prices. Now, just to let you know that the alternate finance minister is like the shadow finance minister of the opposition here in Greece, which at the moment is the Syriza party. Anyway, the market says that cost hikes will start to affect consumer prices as cheaper stock runs out. Skelaris warned that this would increase the risk of vicious inflationary cycles. He said increases in costs of fuel and raw materials, which are currently generating significant problems, should be tackled with particular self-restraint regarding the carriage of the costs onto the consumer. So basically, because things are getting in short supply, companies shouldn't be quick to rush to inflate prices. I don't know how they're going to get around that, but this is what they're asking for. But they did say businesses should consider their decisions. The prospect of a period of dynamic growth has been forecast in 2022, and which will last for several years. We would in no way risk this by getting carried away in a vicious cycle of inflationary expectations. So basically what they're saying, and the figures have been generated to say that Greece could be is on the boom of a big increase in revenue, especially for next year in regards to tourism, as long as we don't get any problems with tourism. So we're looking at a bit of a boom and bust at the moment. Things like property prices have started to rise in Athens as well, which is also fueling the speculation that with all the work that's going to be taking place in Athens to regenerate certain parts of the city, there is going to be a kind of a crest of investment and a boom. And also, if you think as well back to last year when there was a lot of saber rattling going on in the Western Mediterranean in regards to Turkey's activities, and the way that Greece was being courted by the Americans as now a reliable ally. And we were starting to see news of investment from companies like Microsoft in building data farms here in Greece, with €1 billion contracts being signed. It looks like there is investment coming, and it is coming soon. However, basically what they're asking is that businesses hang on that little bit longer. Don't start increasing prices too much so that inflation is then starting to rise, which is going to be difficult because inflation is rising also everywhere else in Europe, not just in Greece, and also in the UK as well. Anyway, a ministry source did not rule out any emergency measures for households and enterprises hurt by the pandemic, while rejecting the term social dividend, as there is no surplus to be distributed. And always, social dividend is the money that you've managed to accumulate in your financial year that can be put towards other things. However, they are asking for that word not to be raised at the moment, because they say they don't see any surplus at the moment at this particular time. Maybe next year, 2022, when we're looking forward to a very good season. And at the moment already looking at bookings for next year and also for 2023, things are actually on the up. The only thing that could spoil things like that is if the pandemic is felt to be getting worse and we start going back to lockdowns, etc., which again we don't want to see, because as we've said, lockdowns don't really work, and especially if you lock the economy down at the same time, all you're doing is killing off your way of making money to help pay the debt that you're also going to be incurring as well. Anyway, also as well, another story not related to COVID but related to vaccines. Right, and this caught my eye this morning in one of the Greek media. Recent medical research suggests that a vaccine and a treatment for the dreaded disease Alzheimer's may not be far off. Now, the study, which involved research on mice, was conducted by researchers from the University of Leicester, the University Medical Centre Groningen, and Life Arc, a medical research charity. Now, its findings suggest that an antibody treatment and a protein vaccine were effective in reducing the symptoms of Alzheimer's in mice. Both the experimental vaccines and treatment were developed with a new approach to fighting against Alzheimer's. Now, most Alzheimer's research is conducted on targeting the amyloid beta protein buildup in the brain, which is linked to the disease. Now, the protein exists naturally in the brain, but the buildup of the substance in the form of plaque is believed to contribute to Alzheimer's. Now, the new treatment and vaccine target the alpha beta proteins in a different way to what previous experimental treatments have done to try and prevent the disease. Now, the Professor Mark Carr from Leicester University said the experimental treatment and vaccine opens up the possibility to not only treat Alzheimer's once the symptoms are detected, but also to potentially vaccinate against the disease before the symptoms appear. And to be honest, that is a vaccine I would be very happy to see produced, a vaccine that would either stop Alzheimer's from occurring, or once you've caught Alzheimer's, obviously cure you of Alzheimer's after you contract it. That is something I think Alzheimer's in some ways is a worse disease than having cancer. The reason is, at least with cancer, you may have a chance of fighting it and getting rid of it. But with Alzheimer's, once you've got it, you've got it, and there's no way of getting rid of it. You can maybe slow it down a bit, but ultimately you're just slowly dying. Your brain is dying, and you then just become a different person. And fingers crossed, my mother has not suffered from it, and I'm so pleased. So many people get Alzheimer's. It's a horrible, horrible, slow death. And again, if that disease could be got rid of, it would make life so much better for so many people. And also, if cancer could finally be destroyed as well, that would be another disease, again, that we would love to see being destroyed as well. So anyway, keep my eye on that story and see if we get any further information on that as well. Anyway, big shout out to Christopher Mears, who's watching in. Nice to have you looking in. Cy Grinley, Raffridge Buddy, nice to see you. Mark Billingham, also Billy Billingham, nice to have you looking in as well, big fella. Nice to see you. I'm going to give you a wave. Barbara Telfer as well, tuning in. Johnny Hayes, hey Johnny, nice to see you looking in as well. Another Raffridge Buddy. Heather Nash as well, tuning in as well. Nice to see you. Sean Bowen says, good morning, Ginge. Another nice day here over Exmoor. Have a great day. Love to the chicken. Bless you. Oh, that's fantastic. Also as well, can I just say quick hello to Andy Orchard. Andy Orchard at the moment is over there in Holland. He managed to get to Holland. What's it like there at the moment, mate? I hear they're locking the bars down and you've got to be out of them by 6 o'clock in the evening or some stupider time in the day. But he says, I've come over to Holland for a bit of a respite from the UK. Also, Andy's a first line responder. He's a paramedic, works in London. So he's been on the front line of what's been going on. And I don't know, Amsterdam didn't look the most appealing place to be going. I've got to be honest with what's happening there at the moment. But we shall keep an eye on them because we're hoping Mitsotakis is not going to take a lead from them or from Austria and may have or go back on his word and have another lockdown here in Greece. Right, that's it from me for today. Oh, quick shout out to Andy Reid as well. Nice to have you tuning in. I keep my ear to the ground. If I hear of anything, I will let you know. And once again, you have a great day, and I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.